Yeah, I think humor is a very interesting way for us to sometimes process difficult situations and emotions and difficult questions. And I think that was for me, I guess, what really sort of blew me away about the script and what Lauren seemingly was attempting to explore here was, the tone of it. Because as an audience, it really did keep you on edge a little bit. It did catch you sort of in these moments where you're kind of like maybe getting a little more drawn to the characters, and then just as you were, the rug was being pulled, and once again, you're learning something new. And projection's a big thing, I think, in our movie that we're also sort of um, exploring. So it's interesting, I guess.
Talk to me a little bit more about when you're talking about the projections
I
element.
mean, I think just projections that we all naturally do in life, right? I mean, I think for me, one of the interesting things that made me drawn to the script was really the opportunity to deconstruct this knight in shining armor concept,
Hmm.
that we all sort of grow up with. We see it in the movies, we see it in cartoons, we hear stories about it, narratives, sort of Prince Charming rolling in and saving the day. And what I mean by projection is that I think sometimes, and again, it's very timely, right? Because we're in a very social media driven environment now. Young kids are out there sort of looking at this and interpreting people in the world to be a certain way that it actually may not be. I mean, no one's really, you know, uh, who they are 100% on those profiles, right? So, but again, the idea of meeting somebody and how often we actually do a lot of the work in terms of creating a narrative without actually knowing the person that we've met right away, and just being a little bit more mindful and thoughtful that we've got that GPS system doing it already for us.
Something else that I found that, really unnerving as well is that this is a work of fiction. At the same time, it's like I would not be surprised in the slightest if there was actually a market like this. If there was some kind of horrible subspecies of humans that found this attractive. I mean, I thought that was very powerful in the way that this was all presented, and especially with the belongings and that line you have about the fact it's like worth more when they're alive. That's something that I just thought was incredibly resonant.
I know Lauren, one of the things that she mentioned that I sort of that kind of made me think was she was talking a lot about the 1% of the 1%, right? The very wealthy of the very wealthy. When is it enough? Right? I mean, that's again something that I feel like is very relatable and timely. Right? Like when is it enough? Like the idea of for these people who can seemingly afford anything and everything, like what is enough, at that point? And when do you finally call it, you know? But it's a frightening aspect to imagine the reality of something like this.
Sebastian, how did you feel about being in that position? I mean, have you ever been in a film before that has even put you in those kind of circumstances? I mean, obviously you're often the hero, so
Am I? What film are you watching? No, I have never done anything like I have nothing to compare to this experience, and I mean that professionally, like just in terms of what the character was, the type of research it came with. Like honestly, the amount of collaboration that we had between us and just everybody on every single level, producer, camera, writer, just getting together and going like, what's the best idea? How do we ground this thing and make it as real as possible? So it's totally new foreign territory for me. But I think as an actor, you have these two brains and you kind of try really hard to balance them out. You're trying to be the detective and be in the moment and be there without judgment of the character and trying to understand motivations and why. And I think for me, a big difficult thing here was just really trying to come up with a story of what would make someone, behave this way, what happened to them, where are they coming from? And then on the other hand, you're keeping this more bird's eye view kind of overseeing eye over the thing. And as and you have to understand the story and how you fit into it, and what your part is, because again, then the director has to come in there and And so, there's never a judgment for me in that. It's just, it's sort of what you sign up for. And I was in for the ride when I read the script. So I wanted to make sure that ride translated as best as possible.
Who do you see in your career, like in terms of what mentors have you worked with that really helped you come to this project and to this role?
There's quite a few, actually. I mean, obviously on a research level, I had, I work with this acting coach a lot. I've known for a while, Larry Moss, and then I met this woman, Dr. Dorothy Lewis, who helped me, read the script, and she had worked with a lot of serial killers and multiple personality disorder kind of patients, and that grounded it for me. But look, I'm just gonna go with Mimi and Daisy. I mean, Mimi, it's like, I can't imagine how difficult it is to direct a movie, but I feel like she had this third sense of just somehow knowing like when to be there for us and support, and then knowing when to step back and let us sort of try something out. And that's really hard. I don't know if I can do that, but, and then I couldn't have done anything without Daisy, I mean, it's like, I felt we communicated so well, and, she's the reason I signed on to the movie, because I trusted her, and I was a fan of her work, and trust was a big thing for us here. We needed to constantly communicate about what are we comfortable with, where can we go, and how far can we kind of push it. And you just cannot make a movie like this unless you have a partner that elevates you the way that she elevates anybody that she's in a scene with, because of her generosity as an actor, but her awareness of herself and the other people, and for the most authentic, rawest, purest moment that you can find. So got to be around women.
I think that's the time we've got. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you
so much, Dana.
Thank you.